Hey, welcome back. Good to have you back. Now, today what we're going to look at is on the fretboard, and that is parallel scales, parallel major and minor scales. The two scales that we will look at are the simple major scale, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, right? And the natural minor scale, the most common minor scale, or we could also call it the Aeolian mode. So the major scale, just in closed position here. Okay, you want to have that underneath your fingers. But here's what we're getting at today. Same root, C, same tonal center, but with Aeolian mode or a natural minor. Okay. Okay. Now, when we look at these scales together like this, we have to come up with differentiators for the notes that we're playing, and the way we do that, because what we're doing is we're putting them together, we're making them composite scales, and we're doing this, as I said, on the fretboard. So when I play the notes of a major scale, we just call those degrees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, as simple as that. Or you can count all the way through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 kind of thing, right? And and if we were looking at the natural minor scale or the Aeolian mode by itself, we would do the same thing. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the degrees in that scale. But we're not. We're putting these scales together. And so we have to have something that differentiates one scale from the other. So we call the first degree of an Aeolian mode 1. And it's the same thing as the major scale. And then the second degree, 2. But then when we get to that third degree, because it's different than the third degree of the major scale, we call that a flat 3. So 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5 are the same as major scale. Then flat 6, and then flat 7, and then 1. So, in other words, when we compare the natural minor scale to the major scale, we have a 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 1. And when we look at it that way, you see that when you do these flats, it's more than just a flat. It's making the scale darker than its corresponding major scale, right? So this obviously, if I play in major, if I play in minor with those flat 6, flat 7, and flat 3, major, yeah. So what we want to do when we improvise is we want to be able to change the colors and the textures of what we're doing, and a great way to do that is playing and thinking in parallel major and minor right on the fretboard. So and keep in mind that flat 6, flat 7, and flat 3. The flat 3 is what makes a major scale minor, or vice versa. A major third is what makes a minor scale major, if you like. So I mean, the flat three, putting it this way, is essential in a minor key. It's the defining factor in a minor key. You can take a major scale and just lower the three, and you'll end up with a minor scale. We're not going to talk about that one right now. So the flat three is essential, and the flat six, flat seven, and the one are all intrinsic to the sound of that scale. Now, the major scale, as we know, has a 1 chord. It has a 4 chord, and it has a 5 chord. In cowboy chords, it'd be like 1 chord, 1, 4, and 5. Or in bar chords, 1. That's nice and clear. And in an Aeolian mode, the 1 chord is minor, the 4 chord is minor, the 5 chord is minor. So a major 1, 4, 5, minor 1, 4, 5. Right, you can hear that. Isn't that cool? So the major scale is called it's a tonal mode. The major scale, you can also call it an Ionian mode. It's a tonal mode because we have a strong 1, 4, and 5 chordal platform in the major scale, and we also have a strong 1, 4, and 5 tonal platform in the minor scale, right? And so more on that later. But let's take a look at the fretboard. So first of all, you just play the C major scale, and then it's parallel minor, and we're just in position 3 right now, right? And so now when you feel, this is like a great warm-up, but it's not only a warm-up for your fingers. Don't get psyched out about your fingers, right? It's a warm-up about your head and your ears, that are attached to your head. That's the important part. To hear those sounds is just what it's all about, right? Okay, and now what we want to do is to move up the fretboard, and here's C major scale. I'll do this slowly. Most of you probably know this already, but C major, right? And now we want to do the parallel minor. Flat 3, 4, 5, and then flat 6. Now, I'll play that scale again. Okay. Now, if you've got your 5 most important scales happening already, like the Cage system of scales, I got to say this here, and so I'm just going to come out and say it. There is so much misinformation on the on the web about the Cage system, and I'm not going into the misinformation, but the Cage system is there's nothing magic about the cage system. It's just the way the guitar works, and I will do a later video of the explaining what that is. It's simple. It's no big deal. You know, it's not some like magic thing. It's just the way the fretboard works. Okay, so now, so we've got this minor scale here as I just played, but what I was getting at is sometimes a really strange thing that happens in my head anyway, is you can play a scale you already know, and if you're playing it from a different root, you don't recognize it. It's really weird. So this scale here that I'm playing, that minor scale, is exactly the same as the C major formation. Exactly the same, right? Except I'm starting it on this root and I'm moving it up to the C here. And you will notice that kind of thing over and over again, because all of the major scales are going to end up being your modes, right? Your ecclesiastical modes, the Dorian, Phrygian, Mixolydian, Lydian, Aeolian is the one that we're looking at right now, and the Locrian, all the same notes. But because they're all the same notes, they're also all the same fingerings that you've already played, except just starting on in a different root position. But that's another another one. Okay, so let's go to C major in fret 7 on fret 7. Everybody knows that probably, right? And then we do the same thing with the playing a parallel minor. Right. Parallel minor, major. Isn't it pretty how it sort of lifts? You can hear that lift, the flat 6, flat 7, and flat 3 become major 3, major 7, major 6, right? As opposed to minor 7, minor 6, and minor 3rd, right? Okay, and then the same deal again. We have we're moving up the fretboard, parallel major, parallel minor, and then now we're just starting this one from an octave higher. You probably know this one. I'll take it slowly. All right, and then we want the minor. There's our minor 3. And as you can see, it looks exactly the same as the E flat major scale, right? Except I'm starting on the note that will make it the Aeolian mode, the tonal center of C. And there is the minor key. Okay, good. So we just did 4 positions, right? 1, 2, 3, for, let's take it up to here, since I've got a longer neck here. Major scale, right, and then slowly the minor scale. Again, it's just a repeat of a scale that you played before, I'm sure. Like same, yeah. I'll do that one more time for C. Okay. All right. Now, so that's looking at it laterally. That's spreading these scales out across the fretboard. So what you're doing is oh, by the way, you can take that one that we just did in, up at the 12th fret. You can also take that down to the open position. Another good way to do this is to take the major scale, right? Which you'll know. Here's a good exercise for you. So there, you take the C major scale, and now lower each of those notes that I told you about before. So right, so major scale becomes minor by lowering the 3. Right, okay, now it's minor, and then the 4 and 5, we know they're tonal notes, and they stay the same. Right, now that gives us the 5. And then we had not the regular 6, but the flat 6, and then the flat 7, and then the root. You see, isn't that cool? That flat 7, flat 6. Okay, yeah, that's great exercise. Is to take a major scale and turn it into a minor scale using a different way of looking at it, right? By just lowering the 3, lowering the flat 6, and lowering the 6 and lowering the 7, making them flat 6 and flat 7. Okay, and that will give you a lateral representation of the entire fretboard. And a great way to, boy, killer way to warm up, really. And then start to extrapolate that chromatically across the fretboard. I'll show you what I mean. So we start C major. Okay, that was C major and C minor. Then and so on. You get the idea, right? You can start to take those two parallel forms and start to move them, in those like close positions. Move them chromatically up and down the fretboard. Take one at a time, right? C major, C minor, 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 right? In those 5 positions, and then make them, express them vertically, and vertically and then chromatically up and down the fretboard. Like that's a workout, right? But it's a workout not only for your fingers, but it's a workout for your harmonic understanding and your melodic understanding, right? It's great. Okay, and don't forget that the 1 chord in a minor key is a minor chord, and the 1 chord in a major key is a major chord. The 1 chord in the 4 chord in a minor key is major. A 4 chord in a major key. Is that what I said? A 4 chord in a major key is major. A 4 chord in a minor key is a minor, right? Even if you just remember that, that's going to start to help you understand major and minor. One of the classic progressions that we probably all heard before is this one chord in major, just as like sort of more like a cowboy progression, and then to the four chord, to the four minor, one, four, right? Yeah, isn't that a pretty progression when you just take that composite simple version of composite major and minor, and you start to think of them together. Okay, so for today, that was on the fretboard. Working it out laterally across the fretboard in the key of C, and there's a whole ton of work to do there. This may be a revelation to some of you, but that major and minor aren't some exclusive camps that never meet in the middle anywhere. No, major and minor in composite harmony, which happens all the time, everywhere from simple folk tunes to complex jazz tunes to classical music, of course, as well. Right. So think composite harmony. Think that out on the fretboard. If this was linearly, melodically, right now, we're not talking too much about harmony in this session. And if that was a help to you, click like or subscribe. That's even better. And also, if you have any questions like what the heck are you talking about, please just leave that at the bottom, and we'll answer those questions. And we're not kidding. Okay, thanks a lot for dropping by, and have fun.